Accra never sleeps. Its streets hum with the rhythm of honking taxis, sizzling roadside grills, and voices chasing both fortune and fame. From Asu to Madina, life beats like a drum, loud, urgent, and beautiful. At the heart of this living city stood Ama Nyarko, a young woman whose beauty was the kind that made even streetlights blush. Her phone was her mirror, and her followers were her audience. She was known across TikTok and Instagram as Queen Ama, the girl who gave love advice and sold charm bracelets she claimed could make anyone fall in love. Ama's tiny boutique sat between a fruit stand and a hair salon in Nima, but she didn't sell clothes. On her shelves were jars filled with colored water, perfumes she named Love Me Forever and Sweet Destiny. Yet her most famous item was something she called the coconut binding, a small white coconut wrapped in red ribbon, sprinkled with glitter, and tied with a thread. She claimed it could tie the heart of any man who tasted its milk. People came from far and near, whispering her name like she was some goddess of love. One evening, as the sun melted into orange, an old woman limped into Ama's shop. Her wrapper was faded, her eyes pale but piercing. She asked softly, "My daughter, do you know what you are selling?" Ama smiled without looking up from her phone. "Of course, Mama. I sell love. People pay, and I give them what they want." The old woman's lips trembled. "Love cannot be tied, child. Only spirits tie hearts, and they don't untie easily." Ama laughed, snapping a selfie. "Mama, please, spirits are for old stories. This is 2025. The old woman's face darkened. "Then you will learn that spirits have no calendar." That night, Ama posted a new video. "Some old woman came to my shop today talking about spirits. Can you imagine? Anyway, my people, if you want true love, DM me. I'll show you how to tie his heart." The video went viral overnight. But among the thousands of likes and laughing emojis was one comment that stood out. "At the watcher, don't tie what heaven has not joined." Ama scrolled past it, thinking nothing of it. But if she had looked closer, she would have seen the account had no profile picture, no followers, and the message was sent at 3:33 a.m. 2 weeks later, Ama met Kojo Mensah, a handsome businessman with skin the color of roasted cocoa and a voice smooth like melted chocolate. He drove a silver Range Rover and spoke like he'd never begged for anything in life. Ama was smitten immediately, but Kojo was polite, distant, and uninterested in her flirtations. "You're beautiful, Ama," he said once, "but I'm not looking for love." Ama smiled, but her pride burned. "We'll see about that," she whispered to herself. That night, Ama went to her altar, a small table behind her bedroom curtain. Upon it lay white cloth, candles, and a single coconut. She tied it with red thread, whispered Kojo's name 3 times, and pressed her lips against the shell. "As this coconut is sealed," she murmured, "so shall your heart be sealed to mine." A sudden wind swept through her room, though the windows were closed. The candle flame bent sideways but did not die. Ama shivered but smiled. "It's working," she said softly. By morning, Kojo called her. "Ama, I don't know why, but I can't stop thinking about you. Can we meet for lunch?" Ama's heart danced. Her coconut had worked. Within days, Kojo was everywhere calling, visiting, buying her gifts. He became obsessed. But as his love grew, so did his anger. He would shout when she didn't answer the phone, appear outside her shop uninvited, and once he even slapped her for speaking to another man. Ama laughed it off to her followers. "Love is madness, my people. When you tie it right, the man will never let you go." But love turned darker than she expected. Kojo began to dream of drowning. Every night, he saw himself sinking in deep water with a voice whispering, "Untie the coconut." One morning, he woke with blood on his pillow and bruises around his neck. Ama, shaken but proud, reached for her phone, but the screen flickered. For a brief second, her reflection in the camera smiled after she had stopped smiling. And that was how the first crack in her charm appeared. For 2 weeks straight, Ama walked around like a queen freshly crowned. Kojo called every morning, texted every afternoon, and sent mobile money every evening. Her boutique suddenly overflowed with customers. Even her landlord started greeting her respectfully. She told her friends, "You see, When you pray with precision, heaven answers. But it wasn't heaven. It was the echo of her own binding, whispers from that tied coconut still sitting on her altar, slowly drying with the sun. At night, she could hear faint cracking sounds from the coconut shell. Each sound made her smile, unaware that something was also cracking inside her. Kojo began a change. He started waking up at night, sweating and breathing heavily, as if someone was calling his name from far away. During meetings, he would drift off, eyes unfocused. His friends joked, "Kojo, love don't catch you proper." But his driver noticed strange things, Kojo talking to himself in the car, touching his chest and saying, "I feel tied." Amma laughed whenever he complained. "My love, it's just stress. Take honey water, you'll be fine." But his eyes said otherwise. There was fear there, quiet but growing. Amma began to notice small changes in her reflection. One morning, while applying her makeup, she saw a faint shadow move behind her reflection, though her room was empty. When she blinked, it was gone. Another day, her reflection smiled a moment too late. She froze, dropped her brush, and whispered, "Mama Deliverance, what's happening?" The air around her smelled faintly of palm oil and salt, the scent of rituals waking up. She returned to the small compound of Mama Deliverance, a dusty house at the edge of Madina, half church, half shrine. The old woman was waiting, already smiling. "My daughter, the spirits are moving," she said. Amma confessed that Kojo was acting strange. Mama nodded slowly. "That's how you know it's working. When love fights back, it trembles first." Then she handed Amma a small bottle of red oil and said, "Every night, rub this on your heart and call his name. But don't miss a night, or the coconut will grow angry." Amma took it eagerly, unaware that she was now feeding a spirit that had already started eating from her joy. In East Legon, across the city, Kojo's wife, Efua, began to dream strange dreams. In her dreams, she saw a coconut tied with red cloth floating in dark water. Every time she tried to touch it, it sank deeper and deeper. She woke up trembling, clutching her chest. Her pastor husband thought it was stress, but her spirit knew something was wrong. One Sunday, she walked into her prayer group and whispered to the leader, "Something is tying my home." Accra gossips are faster than network signal. Soon, whispers began to move through the city. "Have you heard? Kojo the engineer is dating that boutique girl." Amma enjoyed the attention. She flaunted her new gold phone, new car, and her man's photo blurred on her status with captions like, "If you can't keep your blessing, don't curse mine." But each night, as she posted her pictures, the lights in her boutique began to flicker. The coconut on her altar was turning black, its water leaking silently onto the white cloth beneath. One night, Kojo didn't call. Amma waited. Midnight came's nothing. She called, texted, called again. His phone rang but wasn't answered. By dawn, she was packing her room like a caged cat. Finally, she called his driver, who said, "Madam, Oga day sick. Eno even fit talk." Amma's chest tightened. She felt heat rush to her face. "Which sickness?" she shouted. But even before he answered, she already knew. Her own hand had written this story. That evening, thunder rolled over the city. Amma returned home and found the coconut split in two. Its water had spilled over the altar, forming a dark stain shaped like a heart torn in half. A sharp pain shot through her chest. She fell to her knees, gasping. Her phone buzzed beside her, a message from Kojo's wife. "Madam, I don't know who you are, but leave what doesn't belong to you before it buries you." Amma's phone slipped from her hand. For the first time, she was afraid. Because the coconut she had tied for love had just untied her piece. Kojo's body began to shrink like cloth left too long in the sun. He stopped eating, his laughter faded, and his once firm hands trembled when he tried to hold his tools. Every night, he woke up to the faint sound of a woman singing from the sea, the same melody Amma had hummed when they first met. He tried to pray, but his tongue felt heavy. His shadow on the wall no longer moved with him. Efua, his wife, could no longer bear it. She went back to her prayer group and told them everything: the dreams, the fear, the scent of palm oil she found on Kojo's shirts. The leader, a calm old man, nodded. "My daughter," he said, "what ties love wrongly must be untied by truth. Bring me water from your husband's bath. The spirits will speak." That night, Efua prayed until dawn, her tears mixing with candle wax. That night, Amma posted a new video. "Some old woman came to my shop today talking about spirits. Can you imagine? Anyway, my people, if you want true love, DM me. I'll show you how to tie his heart." The video went viral overnight, but among the thousands of likes and laughing emojis was one comment that stood out. "At the Watcher, don't tie what heaven has not joined." Amma scrolled past it, thinking nothing of it. But if she had looked closer, she would have seen the account had no profile picture, no followers, and the message was sent at 3:33 a.m. Mama Deliverance woke up one morning shouting, "They are fighting! The spirits are fighting!" She ran to Amma's shop with ashes on her forehead. "My daughter, you fed the wrong one. That spirit doesn't tie love, it eats it." Amma dropped to her knees. "Mama, help me, I can't breathe at night." But Mama only shook her head. "You must return what is not yours. Love bound by fear will always demand blood." In East Legon, Efua's husband, Pastor Yaw, prayed over Kojo for hours. As he laid his hand on the man's chest, he felt something beating beneath his palm, not a heart, but something heavier, slower, like a drum underwater. He shouted, "Who tied this man's destiny?" Kojo's body convulsed. His voice came out as a whisper, "Amma." The candles around them burst into flame, one by one. Rain fell suddenly that evening. Not gentle rain, but angry, heavy rain that slapped roofs and broke branches. Amma's house trembled with thunder. The altar cloth was soaked, the coconut shells turned black. She screamed and threw the coconut out the window, but it bounced once and rolled back inside, stopping at her feet. She fainted. By morning, the news had spread. People in Accra whispered, "That boutique woman, she's been touched." Kojo was rushed to a hospital, pale, shaking, unable to speak. His company shut down his projects, and Amma's boutique was closed by the landlord. The same city that once envied her now avoided her. In her weakness, Amma dreamt again. She was standing by the sea, holding the split coconut in her hands. From the waves rose two women, one in white, one in shadow. The one in white said, "Return it." The one in shadow said, "Keep it, you've already paid." Amma screamed, and the sea swallowed her voice. The sun over Madina burned weak and red that morning, as if it too had seen sorrow. Amma dragged herself to the dusty compound of Mama Deliverance, her steps uneven, her eyes sunken like someone who had been dreaming while awake. The old woman was sweeping the yard, humming a hymn that sounded half Christian, half forgotten. When she saw Amma, she didn't look surprised. She said quietly, "When the spirit you call for starts to eat, you can't send it away with tears." Amma dropped to her knees. "Mama, the coconut broke. Kojo is dying, I can't sleep. I hear the sea in my dreams." Mama Deliverance sighed, her eyes distant. "Then it's no longer yours to control, my daughter. You tied a man's heart with a spirit's rope. The rope has found both of you." Inside the dim shrine, the air smelled of palm oil, charcoal, and old secrets. Candles flickered before carved faces, spirits of the river and the forest. Mama placed the broken coconut halves before the altar. She poured red oil over them and said, "We will beg. If the sea still listens, maybe it will show mercy." Amma, trembling, asked, "What do I do?" Mama handed her a clay bowl of seawater, the scent sharp and heavy. "Kneel and speak the truth. Every lie will make the waves rise higher." Amma began to confess, voice breaking. She spoke of envy, desire, and fear, every word a wound reopening. The candles trembled, the air thickened. A wind moved through the room, even though the doors were closed. Suddenly, the sea itself seemed to answer. The walls began to sweat water. The bowl in Amma's hands rippled and darkened, revealing her reflection, but not her face. It was the shadowed woman from her dream. A voice whispered, "You called me, you fed me, now you must finish what you began." Amma screamed, throwing the bowl aside. Water splashed across the floor and began to crawl like living light. Mama Deliverance fell to her knees, chanting, "Spirit of the deep, leave her. Take the offering, not the soul." But the spirit only laughed, a sound like waves breaking over bones. Thunder rolled over Madna. Rain began to fall suddenly, not from the clouds, but from inside the room. Amma's hair clung to her face. Her lips shook as the walls melted into ocean. She found herself standing on a beach that didn't exist in the waking world. Kojo stood there too, pale, confused, half-transparent. "Amma, what have you done to us?" he whispered. The shadowed spirit appeared behind him, smiling. "You wanted him tied, so you are tied." Their feet sank into the sand as water began to rise around them. Amma fell on her knees, crying. "Please, I didn't mean to hurt him. I just wanted him to love me." The spirit in white appeared again, the same one from her dreams. "Love cannot be tied. What you tied was hunger." Amma looked at Kojo, his body fatting like mist. "Forgive me," she whispered. He smiled weakly. "Even if I forgive you, the sea will not." The waves rose higher, swallowing their reflections. Mama Deliverance, still in the shrine, could barely keep chanting. Her eyes were rolled back, and the red oil had turned black. She reached for the split coconut, struck it against the floor, and shouted, "By the power that bound, be unbound." In the spirit realm, Amma felt something snap in her chest, like a rope breaking underwater. The waves froze mid-motion. The two spirits, white and shadow, began to fade, merging into one shape of calm light. Kojo fell to the sand, breathing again. Amma collapsed beside him, her tears mixing with salt water and blood. Days later, Amma walked to the same beach where she first found the coconut. She buried the shell deep in the sand and whispered, "Forgive me." The sea was calm, but when the wind blew, she could almost hear it answer. Love must be free, or it drowns. From that day, Amma was never seen again in Madna. Some said she moved away. Others said the sea came for her one last time. But every evening, fishermen swore they saw a woman in white walking along the waterline, humming softly. The same tune that once tied a man's heart. When Amma woke, she was lying in Mama Deliverance's room, drenched in sweat and seawater. Kojo was alive but weak, found unconscious by the roadside that same night. The doctors said he had suffered a sudden seizure, but Amma knew it was more than that. Mama Deliverance handed her the now empty coconut shell. "The bond is broken, but the sea never forgets." Amma asked, "What will happen to me?" Mama only said, "You tied love, now live untied alone." Weeks passed, and the people of Madina tried to forget. The beach where Amma once walked grew silent, yet at night, the fishermen claimed they heard a woman's song floating above the waves. Children whispered that the sea had taken her as its bride. Old women crossed themselves and said softly, "Some debts are paid not with money, but with memory." Kojo recovered slowly, though his eyes often stared toward the horizon as if waiting for someone who would never return. Kojo began to dream of water. He would see Amma standing on the shore, smiling faintly, her hair wet with moonlight. Each time he tried to reach her, she would whisper, "Live free, do not tie your heart again." He woke every morning with tears on his face, unsure if they were his or the sea's. He stopped wearing the bracelets Amma had given him, and in their place tied a simple string of white cloth, a symbol of letting go. In her small shrine, Mama Deliverance lit candles and spoke to the spirits of the deep. She poured out oil and water, whispering, "Peace to the daughter of the tide. May her lesson not be forgotten." She then told the women who came seeking charms of love, "If your love must be tied, it is not love, it is fear." And so, the legend of the coconut woman began to spread. A tale mothers told their daughters when jealousy burned too bright in their hearts. Amma's boutique was reopened months later by a new tenant, but no one ever stayed long. At night, the mannequins would turn toward the sea-facing window. Some swore they heard soft singing, not of sorrow, but of release. And when the wind blew through the open door, it smelled faintly of salt and coconut oil. The landlord finally sealed the place and left a sign that said, "For rent, but not for the restless." One dawn, a fisherman found something shining on the shore. A perfect, unbroken white pearl, lying where the coconut was once buried. He took it to Mama Deliverance, who smiled faintly. "The sea gives back what is made pure," she said. "Amma's soul has found peace." That night, the tide rose higher than usual, but no one was afraid. The water touched the edge of the village and then retreated, as though bowing in farewell. Kojo left Accra and built a small home by the countryside. He never married again, but he grew kind, gentle in speech, humble in spirit. He helped widows, built wells, and planted trees by the road. Whenever someone asked why, he would smile and say, "Because love that gives nothing back is the only love worth keeping." Years later, children in Madina told the story by firelight. They spoke of Amma, the woman who tied love with a coconut and learned that the sea always answers. The waves became her voice, the wind her song. And when lovers walked by the water and felt a chill, they said, "Amma is watching, reminding us that love cannot be chained." Water wave moral. Love is not a rope to bind, but a river to flow. When envy drives the heart, even affection becomes a curse. The sea remembers every promise and returns every secret we bury in its waves. So, the people of Madina learned to love freely, to pray sincerely, and to never bargain with the unseen. And sometimes, when the tide sings at dusk, they still hear her voice. Not in sorrow, but in peace,